right, everyone already in the room will be starting shortly in just a minute. We're going to let people come from the sessions that they were previously at and hop on over. So we'll start in just a moment. All right, everyone, we will be getting started in just a moment. Just letting people log in and wrap up from their previous session. All right, and let's get started in the chat. If everyone wants to take a moment to introduce yourself and perhaps say where you're from today. So I'm Alicia Diedrich. I'm with GALA and based here in Seattle. And today we have with us Pavel Doronin, who we'll be introducing in just a moment. All right. Ooh, Dublin and Ohio. Good mix this morning. Boston, Berlin. Got some people enjoying their afternoon. I was up very early today. Hi, Annalise. Good to see you signing in from New York. Maja. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and get us started. Thank you for joining us today. So I am pleased to introduce Pavel Doronin, who I'm actually going to hand off to pretty early today, and he's going to tell you a little bit more about himself, and then for the session that we have today. Pavel, just let me know when you need those polls launched, and I'm going to stop sharing my slides now. Enjoy the show.
Hello, everyone. Let me share my screen as well. I hope you see it right away. My name is, so Alicia, could you please confirm that it's visible? It is. Okay.
Yes.
Perfect. Thank you. Yeah. Hi, everyone. My name is Pavel Doronin, and today's presentation has a little bit of science fiction touch. It's called Do Machine Translation Models Dream of Your Corporate Terminology? Let me, before I start, introduce myself and the company I work at. So I've been around in the industry for quite a while, and I switched multiple roles from translator to translation management. And here I am, last 5 years, I work on translation technologies, and specifically for the last 2 years on machine translation technologies as a product lead at Intento. So Intento, if you have ever discovered something about machine translation, you have probably heard the name. Let me give you like a brief overview of the company. In a nutshell, Intento is an integration platform that combines more than 40 machine translation providers on one platform. They're accessible via a single API. And on top of that, we allow to tailor machine translation output to specific use cases, such as post-editing in translation management systems or global customer support, communication in international companies or community management, whatever, a lot of use cases. And it's possible with our MT Hub, our core product. But also, we are well known for our industry acclaimed machine translation evaluation reports, and we publish them every year. And the fresh one will be released this week, probably today or tomorrow. And we also have tools that allow customers to train machine translation models and evaluate them and build their own custom machine translation reports. This is possible with Machine Translation Studio, our second product offering. And we are also, I'm specifically proud of it, we are officially cool, a cool company, because we are recognized by Gartner as a cool vendor in conversational and natural language processing this year. So this is who I am, so that you know that I know what I'm talking about. And before I start, let me just manage your expectations from this presentation. I will give you two perspectives of the problem. The first one will be business perspective. So I will start with a collective image of a translation industry professional who faces challenges while applying terminology to machine translation, and then I will give you another perspective of from the technological point of view, how we at Intento deal with those challenges. And then I will give you like a very short-term vision. I cannot predict the future that far, but I can tell you what will happen in a few months. So what you can expect from machine translation providers or from us or from your translation service providers. But before I start, I have two small polls for you, two questions, just that I know how deep should I dive into some details. Yeah, if you ever tried to improve machine translation quality with terminology, say yes. If no, so let me know. All right, 60% at least. All right, so yeah, the numbers are changing very fast. So this is great. So almost 50% of people tried to do that. This is cool. So yeah, I hope I will share something new for you too. And all right, and I have another question for those for those 60% who said yes. Can you consider, was it a success or disaster? Was it okay? We have the second poll. All right, so I don't think we have answers here for some reasons. Yeah, Alicia, can you please open this poll again? Oh yeah, here we are. So yeah, Alicia, I think you can close the poll so that we know how many of the attendees said yes. All right, I've seen. Yeah, most of the people said yes. So you are not alone. Please meet Alex. Alex is just how to say combined image of not a real person. Alex works runs translation and localization activities at Acme Incorporated. And the thing is, pandemic, everyone talks about it, why not, boosted digital transformation in the company. And it turns out that machine translation program is a very important part of it, significant part of it. Why? Because the company has heavily increased volumes of content and this content should be translated fast, very fast, and at scale. So this is why a machine translation program is kind of a core thing of the digital transformation, and Alex runs it. And the team starts with the following assets. This situation is quite typical for big companies. They cover core languages for core projects internally by the in-house team of linguists, and the rest of the languages are covered by translation companies, LSPs, by the vendors. And on top of that, the company has collected a multilingual terminology base that is used not only for localization purposes, but also for content creators, technical writers, sales and marketing people. So basically by anyone in the company in some way, in order to ensure the consistent brand voice. So knowing all that, Alex plans the pilot for the machine translation program in the company. And the customization is one of the top priorities of this program. Why? Because Acme Incorporated has a very industry-specific terminology. And the main expected outcome from the machine translation program is that the quality level, the targeted level of quality remains the same or improves. So this is why customization is important here. And for languages that are translated inside, Alex and the team, they have all necessary assets, translation memories, terminology bases, everything. But for the languages that were outsourced, and some of you can probably confirm that also from the translation companies, it's not easy to get translation memories from your translation providers. There are many reasons for them not to do that. This is understandable, but the fact is there might be not so many customization options if you don't have translation memories. So all that shapes the scope of the pilot. So Alex decides that the pilot will start with 3 core languages where they have all the assets and with 1 machine translation provider. So that they train custom models, apply the terminology, and ta-da, everything works like a charm. Everyone is happy. The end users cannot believe that this is machine translation, and localization department is happy. They can process much more content within the same budget. So everything works well, and Alex gets green light from the management that, all right, the pilot is successful. Let's extend this machine translation program to all other languages, to all other departments. And here begins an interesting journey. One of the reasons intent exists is that there is no best provider for all the languages. And Alex and the team discovered that quickly. So there is no provider that ensures the same level of quality across all the languages, across all the domains. So the most obvious choice here is to evaluate and onboard more providers to cover all the languages. But here's the thing, since customization is one of the key points of the machine translation program, different providers, they have different customization options from 0 to very advanced ones. And as for the terminology, this is also the same picture. Some of the providers do not support terminology, and some of them have very interesting way to support it. And the options are exactly the following right now, that the most common way is to use glossaries while training the custom models. It's basically works in a way that you add a glossary with your translation memory to your training set and say, like Microsoft, train a custom model where this specific terminology is used, and it works. Another way to support it is where you have glossaries as assets and push them to the provider side and use them while calling for translation. Let's say, hey Google or hey Amazon, translate me this text and use this glossary or these glossaries, and they're applied on the fly. Some of the providers, they have so-called inline terminology. It means that Alex and the team, they should keep glossaries on their end and make translation calls like, hey, translate this sentence and use these terms with this specific translation. So they should search for terms themselves and submit the translations with the translation requests. It's a quite sophisticated way. But the major problem is with providers that do not support any terminology at all. And you probably ask, all right, yeah, terminology, why is it important? Remember the outsourced languages that were covered by the vendors? We don't have any training data for them. So this is basically the only way to customize the machine translation using terminology. Or if training data is not enough because there are certain levels of sentences that should be used in order to make customization successful. Or there might be another case where stock models of the providers are already good enough for specific domains. The only thing that should be fixed is the consistency of target terms. So this is where terminology can be useful. Or if machine translation output is customized with glossaries applied while training, this might be a heavy procedure when you collect the terms, update terminology, and then initiate retraining and redeployment of the model. So it sounds really cost inefficient. So the main idea here is why glossaries are important, that they allow quick translation improvements with small data. So quick and small data are the keywords here. And this is, with all this background, Alex and the team approach us in Tenta and ask, hey guys, here is the problem that we have. Can you do something with it? And we thought, all right, this sounds very interesting. And since we are an integration platform with multiple vendors and we work with in provider agnostic fashion, why don't we build a terminology support that also works in a provider agnostic fashion, so that Alex has single interface to drop the terms, and then we take care of their application. It sounded very crazy from the first time, but as soon as we decomposed it to smaller steps, it started sound very viable. So we had an action plan, and we started we started small. We started with native glossary support. So we checked how many providers from our platform do actually have native support. It turned out at that time, 9 of 40 providers offered native terminology support, so roughly 23%. So we started with Google. Why Google? Because it's one of the most popular providers that offers terminology support. But another interesting thing, they offer terminology support that is possible to manage only via API. So you have to be tech savvy enough to deal with Google glossaries because they don't have a user interface for that. So we decided to start with this specific problem and to solve it. So what we did is we have built a very simple interface just on top of Google glossaries. And this is where people like Alex started their pilot. An important note here, we did not want, and we do not want still, to reinvent some terminology management systems because there are plenty of more advanced solutions on the market. So we wanted to have something simple, and we created an API to synchronize our terminology with external terminology. And everything worked well. Alex said, hey guys, this is really cool. And we got the green light. We're extending our MT program. And together we agreed on a list of providers for the extension. And none of them supported terminology natively. So this was quite a challenge for our research and development team. And we have brainstormed the solutions, and we came up with a quite simple idea. We call it injection of tags. So let's say you have a term entry. For example, according to Acme Incorporated Style Guide, they don't want to use the word customers in English. They want to use the word clients, for example, for German word Kunden. So what we do here, we scan the source text for source terms. And if we identify source term, in this case Kunden, we wrap it into tags and then send it for translation. And when we receive the translation, everything that is between the tags, we replace it with the actual term entry. Pretty simple, and this allowed us to extend the portfolio of providers where we can apply terminology. And it worked from the same interface. So basically, nothing has changed from a user perspective. And everything was cool until the moment when Alex said, hey guys, this is pretty cool. We expand our global presence, and here are the new languages we want to add. And we evaluated providers and decided to add more providers to the portfolio. And the thing is, none of them supported tags and markup. So they just could not work with tags. They could not process them properly, or just returned some crap set of random characters. The thing was that almost 50% of providers do not support tagged text, HTML, XML. They just work with a plain text. So this is kind of a higher level challenge for our research and development team. And what we did is the following. We call it word alignment. We thought, all right, our goal here is to identify the placement of the target term. How we can do that without tags. What we did is we implemented so-called word alignment. It works in the way that when we get the translation from the provider, we make an alignment word by word. And this allows us to identify the place where the target term should be, and we replace it with the term entry. Of course, it happens real time with some trained neural models. We don't draw lines with pens. The thing here is that it has another limitation on the language level. So it means that when we don't have a trained model that allows us to align text for a specific language, we cannot do anything. So every time we should have enough data to train the alignment mechanism that allow us to do this magic. And currently, since we have already 3 different approaches, we wanted to keep it very simple for the user. And currently, we use all of these 3 approaches to apply terminology in a provider agnostic fashion, in the way we wanted it to work. So basically, Alex still has a unified interface, and they don't care about the provider support of terminology. They just say, I want to use this glossary for this language pair. And if a provider with native support is used, we just rely on this native support. If it does not support glossaries, we use markups. If the provider does not support markup languages, we use word alignment, because word alignment is a very heavy operation in terms of calculation. So we have to use GPUs, and it costs us a lot of electricity. So this is the last step we use mostly for long tail languages.
Excuse me, Pavel.
Yes.
I would like to apologize in the first place. I had certain technical issues and I was late to your session as MC. Just time warning, we are approaching end of session and it's a time for Q&A.
Okay, so let me just speed up a little bit. During the 1.5 years that we have this system, it allows us to collect data of what glossaries actually improve the quality of machine translation. And the main improvements where we have is non-translatable terms. They just inserted as is, and this is the user expectation. So they always improve the quality. The same works with proper nouns that are not part of sentences. So they can be also inserted as is without any grammar adjustments. Think of, I don't know, level names or mission names in a gaming content. But if we translate assets, for example, for games like Magic Sword, and they are a part of the sentence, this might not work well with flective languages like Russian or Arabic, but might improve the quality for Chinese. And we have found an interesting thing that if translations are made not for humans, but for other machines, think of SEO and search robots, the precision of the translation plays a huge role there, but the fluency is not as important. And the main question here is, can we just pull the translation from the TMS and apply it to machine translation? In most cases, no way, because one of the main problems here is that translations have the glossaries are made for human translators, and human translators, they work differently with terminology. And the thing is, the main issue here is that one source term can have multiple translations, but it happens for a reason. So it requires pre-processing, but it happens for a reason. Multiple translations mean that term can be translated differently in different contexts, and this is the nearest room for improvement for machine translation engines and for us to actually detect the context and choose the right term. And we run experiments with term extraction where we extract terms and context information as well. So it allows us to train models that can detect the context. And another big thing is morphology. Everyone asks about it, and some providers support it for specific languages. We also have experiments, and this is probably will be one of the major updates of all the providers next years. We also have a technology that
2 more minutes.
All right, thanks.
Sorry.
So we actually can rewrite the text by using our neural models and put the terms in a right morphological form. And I can talk about glossaries like for hours. Sorry, Mladen. So since we have only 25 minutes, here are my key takeaways that I want you to learn from this presentation, and I hope I have time for a couple of questions. So yeah, terminology can improve the quality quickly on small amounts of data. Manage your expectations. There is no magic, no silver bullet. And yeah, glossaries for human translators are different than glossaries for machines because they read them in a different way. That's it. Thank you very much. And sorry for
Since we are entering the last minute, I will start with the questions.
All right.
The first question is, how do you propose making word alignment or tags more streamlined? If many companies are not supporting these processes, how they can?
Yeah, this is a good thing. That is why we exist, and we do that work. This is what we are offering, and I don't know if we are alone on the market, but so yeah, we help doing that, and we have all the research power to do that. Companies, of course, can build the same technology themselves. It might be quite expensive, though.
Is it possible to specify case sensitivity for terminology while applying it to machine translation?
Case sensitivity. Oh, yeah, that is a good thing. Providers have two case sensitivity detection, sensitive or not sensitive. Although some terminology systems, they have more sophisticated ones. So basically, for most of the providers, you have only two options, sensitive or insensitive.
Can machine translation work with source text terminology, for example, domain-specific acronyms? We ran out of time. Sorry.
Yeah, no worries. I can send a link. We have a blog post on that as well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mladen. Thank you, everyone, for listening. I hope it was insightful for you.
Thank you.